Okay, my name is Maximilian Macdonald. I've been dealing with automobiles very thoroughly since I was 12. This will be the 30th year of having a company. Any small business, you're basically wearing many hats. It's not like you can just do one thing. So many of the employees here have certain tasks that they do, and I sort of come up behind and do a larger degree of things, maybe not directed at one function, but the day I can go through my normal day, which involves, I try to be in the shop by 5:30 in the morning. That allows me to deal with things on the East Coast or Europe and really be uninhibited with people calling in and needing my attention. Then at 7:30, everyone comes in. We have a morning meeting, which is a quick addressing some of the tasks at hand and some of that day's work. And with a business, there's always some special thing or equipment we're getting or things that we're trying to improve and so forth. So that's where the feedback occurs with everyone. Then I will spend a little bit with each technician, go over some of their individual tasks and address that and input. Then I will generally return calls and communicate with customers, parts vendors and so forth, and do that. During the day, I end up having to, with a lot of the cars, their specialty, go over with the technicians, have game plans, deal with the more unique vehicles, and again, research, maybe design something, and the consistency is randomness. So when you're dealing with a spectrum of cars from 1947 to 2023, there's a large degree of knowledge base, and so you have to research and so forth. And some of the cars we deal with, there may be only 20 in the United States. There may be only 200 of them ever made. So not everything's on the internet, and it requires a fair amount of old school communication and contacts that I've acquired over the years and so forth. Because unfortunately, automobiles have been around a long time, and there's a whole spectrum of people that aren't computer savvy, but they have the set skills or the components that you need, and they never got on board with internet or being readily available. So you actually have to call these people, and you have to hunt the things down. And some of the components aren't even available for a price. You have to trade something for them. They are trying to finish a car, and they don't care what you offer them for the extra part they have. They need a part for this. And so sometimes it's brokering deals like that. You have to be a detective. It's just part and parcel with what I do. And then, communicating with customers. Customers receive their cars or drop them off. And because it's not just dealing with new cars with simple things, a lot of it is communicating with a person. And, we'll routinely have cars where maybe a person has a budget, maybe they don't have a budget. Giving people choices. I think in this industry, a lot of people don't feel that they have choices, and there are a lot of choices. And maybe one choice is the best, maybe there's the worst, and there's understanding the best value. When a car comes in, it's inspected before we do any work to it. So there is a ding there. This is going on. We scan it. So these are the fault codes present prior to us even working on it. And that makes it a lot easier, because a customer, you'd be surprised, someone drops off a car. I generally don't check the car in, someone else does, but they weren't aware that their taillight was broken because that happened 2 days before. But if you have it right there and it's 2 minutes, it's written 2 minutes after they arrived, they're like, whoa, I didn't know. If you didn't tell me that, I would have figured something happened when it was with you. And so it's important for everyone. And that is the beauty of technology now. And if there's an oil leak or anything like that, we can document it with a picture, text it to the person, here's what's going on, what do you want us to do? And some people are like, oh, wow, fix that right away, or like, let's let it slide. And then it's on them. I don't want to make the sole decisions. I want the person to be involved with the process. So as the day progresses, communicating with everyone, again, I'm on the different projects, I'm helping people and talking about ideas and so forth, because as much as people think today's cars are about plugging a device in and replacing a part, there's a fair amount of standard service that is very straightforward, but there's a lot of cars that we get that are very difficult and very sophisticated. It may tell you that there's a fault with a system. It doesn't tell you exactly what that fault is, especially if it's wiring and things like that. Then you have to, or there's a system that's shut down. A car may have many faults, and we have affected faults or causative faults, and you sort of have to figure out what it is. It's like, did you faint because you have low blood pressure, or did you have low blood pressure because you fainted and something else happened? There's a causative and effective, and so if you don't understand the systems, you could chase a dead end that won't find a solution during the day, helping people with things like that and such. And the day continues on. We have to order parts and do research for parts and so forth as the day goes. So I started with cars because I thought they were interesting. I mean, a lot of kids find them interesting. I grew up in an environment that had a lot of European cars and all, and so again, very acclimated to Jaguars and Rovers and non-mainstream cars. And I just was enamored with them. So as a kid, I would take apart model cars and things like that, and just I was passionate and still am passionate. And I saved up money to get an old Volkswagen, and I was 12, and I started to take it apart and learn and learn and learn. And after doing dismantling of cars, which is a great education because you get to take cars to the last nut and bolt and see similarities and what's going on with it. Started working on with the European cars, and felt there was a need for that. So you always have to be desiring to learn something new. With electric vehicles, there's not a tenure where someone says, you know what, I've been dealing with electric vehicles for the last 50 years. That technology has not been, in its current form, available. So the beauty is that you're not getting into an industry that you're having to deal with people with a threshold of knowledge base that is just so vertical to get into and that's so high. You could get into it, and you're learning the current technology, and you are just as skilled and have just as much knowledge base as someone that has been in the industry for a long time, because that kernel of information is just freshly applied. There's a breadth of knowledge available online, and you have, if there's a passion there, you can put yourself in a place where people are going to see that, and a lot of opportunities are going to be available. But you have to take the initiative, and if you show that you have integrity, people will go significantly out of their way to help you. To be fair, with anything that requires a skill set, the wanting may not have the follow through with the actual happening. So fair enough. I may think that I want to be a great musician. I don't have enough passion to follow through with that. It'd be like if it came easy, that'd be pretty awesome. But there's some skill sets that come really easy for some people, and it's just through previous experience. And we're all created different, and some of us are more skilled at other things than some people. So even that said, within a given field, you say, look, I am of small stature, or I I lack some of this. There's a segment of it you could do. Let's say that, you know what, I don't really find nuts and bolts that fascinating, but wiring and programming is super important. Or I like diagnosing things, or I just like replacing components. There's a segment in each of there, and if you're good at it, you'll do very well. So at a dealership, one of the highest paying jobs is a person that just diagnoses. They don't necessarily fix the problem. They're like, okay, test drive it, look at these results. Okay, that's your problem, you go fix it. That person is probably one of the highest paid person. The worst someone can say, if you want an opportunity, is say no. But if you never ask, you're never going to get that opportunity.